Всем привет, дорогие друзья и подписчики канала Geek. С вами я, его ведущая Ирина Пирожникова и Сергей Мангасаров с портала Spider Media.
И сегодня мы будем брать интервью у старшего продюсера игры Overwatch Спаркса. Надеюсь, вам понравится.
Okay, so my name's Lee Sparks. I'm a senior game producer on Overwatch at Blizzard Entertainment. So my main job responsibilities are everything that we do for project management and production around world building for the game. So that is everything for building the levels, so everything from the level design to the art that goes into the levels in the game, but also the IP development. So all the story development, all the interaction between the game team and the cinematics team. So it's a ton of fun, and we had a lot of fun building all the levels for Overwatch. I wouldn't say it was difficult. It was definitely a big change. I mean, I worked on World of Warcraft for about 7 years, before moving on to Overwatch. It's definitely a very, very different project, but one that I was very, very passionate and excited to start with the team. We have a really, really great team of developers working on Overwatch that I'm humbled to be a part of, and it's great to be on that team now. Yeah, we're really, really excited that the game is finally out and people are able to play it. We were very humbled to see such big numbers in terms of the people playing the open beta, and now we're happy that all those people actually get to play the game live as well. So it's really great to have it finally released, and now I can go home and play a bunch of games myself as well. With Overwatch, we have a team full of people who are very, very passionate with first-person shooter games. We all love shooters, and at Blizzard we kind of decided it was time for us to move into the shooter genre and to do our Blizzard take on it. We like to say that Overwatch is a love note to the shooter genre, in that we took a lot of inspiration from a lot of older shooter games, a lot of the old ones like Quake and Doom and Tribes and Team Fortress and all the games that we know and love from the past of the shooters, and a lot of inspiration from not only those games but our other games at Blizzard, Warcraft, Starcraft, and tried to really make a shooter that would be very diverse and not only in terms of the heroes that you play, but in terms of the abilities you have and the weapons you have. And we really wanted to feel like you had a lot of options, and once you chose the hero you wanted to play, that it all felt very epic and overpowered, and you felt like amazing, and that you were able to embody these heroes that we developed for the game. We do talk to Bungie a lot. We're fans of Destiny. We're fans of the Call of Duty games that Activision makes. We do talk to those teams a lot and get a lot of input and feedback from them, because they're experts in shooters as well. Feedback from them was invaluable to us as well. Yeah. Okay. So I think one of the most important things about Overwatch that really sets it apart, and the decision we made pretty early in the game development, was that you could change heroes whenever you want. That was a value that we thought was really, really important, it's very important in a moment-to-moment gameplay standpoint. Two teams might start with a specific composition of heroes, but then you might decide, hey, they have 2 Widowmakers and we don't have anybody countering Widowmaker. We need Winstons, or we need to have a Widowmaker to counter their Widowmaker, or something else. And then you might change heroes on your team, and then they will counter what you're doing. And I think that really is unique to Overwatch in the shooter space, especially with as diverse as our heroes are. There's a very important part of development, and something that we've embraced the whole time, and something that we don't want to see go away. So. First version. So. That's a good question, because at Blizzard we really embrace this culture of iteration and constant fixing and constant design changes, and the finished version of the game is very, very, very different than the game we started with. Not only from balance, but from the heroes we have. We do have almost every hero that we started with stayed. For example, like Tracer was the first hero we made. Reaper was the second one we made, I think. Pharah may have been the third or fourth. But heroes stayed. The general ideas of heroes stayed throughout development. But balance changes a lot. So for example, like when we put Bastion into the game, he had a very, very different ultimate ability. His ultimate, when he first went into the game, was a remote mine that you drove around the map and you could plant and then would explode when enemies walked over it. So things like that changed a lot. Like Bastion's ultimate ability now is completely different. And then that ability ended up inspiring Junkrat's ultimate ability, the Riptire that he drives around the map and explodes. And so things like that changed a lot. But at its core, like the game balance changes a ton. So. Oh, I always have a hard time with that question because I love them all so much, and especially because of what we were talking about before with hero switching being so important to Overwatch. But I get geeked up and excited about all of them. Like Tracer zipping around, and Pharah rocketing up into the air, and Reinhardt swinging his hammer and putting his shield up. I think to me, like one of the most interesting characters from like a lore perspective is Zenyatta. Like I think he's very unique. He's very cool. How often do you see like a robot monk in a game? His story is very interesting to me, and even his gameplay is very interesting to me. Kind of the dichotomy of debuffing enemies and healing your friends at the same time. My favorite location, that's really difficult too. I think they're all great. I actually really like Watchpoint Gibraltar. Because it shows us a lot of history of what Overwatch once was. In the story of the game, in the present day, Overwatch doesn't exist anymore. Overwatch was shut down a few years before the game starts. But Watchpoint Gibraltar shows us some history of what Overwatch was in the past. And I think that location, Gibraltar, is also pretty unique and really cool to play in. We take a lot of inspiration from all over the place for a lot of our heroes. With Soldier 76, we definitely want him to feel like gritty, what's the best way to put it? Kind of like he's a mercenary now, but he's very hard. And we definitely had that feeling for him from when we made that short. Yeah. We don't kind of take a character wholesale from something else, and we take inspiration from a lot of things, but our heroes really are things that we want to see in the game, and the way that we go about making heroes is a few different ways. We might start with a weapon. For example, like with Pharah, we knew that we wanted a hero with a rocket launcher. With Junkrat, we knew that we wanted a hero with a grenade launcher, with an indirect way to fire. And we started with those weapons, and then we built the character around the weapon. For example, with Pharah, if you have a rocket launcher, it's pretty fun to get up above your enemies and shoot down on them. So we gave her a rocket pack. And when you have a rocket pack, it's good to be able to get up in the air fast. So we gave her the ability to do that. And with other heroes, it starts with an ability. So like, for example, with Tracer, we knew that we wanted a hero that could teleport. And so we started with that ability, and then we built the hero around that ability. Others start with art. So for example, like Zenyatta started with a concept artist, Arnold Sang, drawing a concept of him. And we all said, that's really cool, we want to build that guy. And so we did, and then we kind of developed the abilities and personality and weapons around the art. So it differs based on what we're building. Sometimes the designers might decide we need another support hero, or we need another tank hero, and that's where we'll start. And so and then we'll take that core, and then we'll pull ideas from all over the place and build it. Sure. Yeah. So when we release a game at Blizzard, we don't just release it and then we're done. Like we plan to support it, as much as we can. So we have plans to add more heroes, more maps to the game into the future. We'll add more skins for the heroes, more cosmetic things for you to unlock with the loot boxes. But we don't exactly know when some of those updates will come yet, but we do know that all the new content that we release, new skins, new maps, new heroes, will all be free of charge if you've purchased the game. We'll also, we're constantly taking feedback from the community, from the forums, from Reddit, from everywhere, and we will do no shortage of balance changes if we need to, like if some of the heroes become overpowered or underpowered over time. We'll add new brawls as the kind of the arcade version of the game where you can every week it changes into something new. We'll add new ones of those, and so yeah, we have lots of plans to keep the game fresh and updated in the future.